There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? They're here.
Welcome to the Horror Cut.
What's up, horror fans? It's Stek here from the Horror Cut, and with me as always is...
Still Gary.
We've got a special guest here tonight on the show. This is Sam, and she's coming all the way in from Minnesota. Sam, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your sort of relationship with horror, etc.?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram where I just do whatever kind of horror-related things I feel like, reviews. Sometimes I'll make memes if I feel like being funny. And I published my first book a couple years ago. It's just an anthology of different horror stories that I've been working on throughout the past 10 years or so.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And where can our listeners find your book? Is it on Amazon? Is it international?
It is on Amazon. Yeah, there's an e-copy, or you can just order the paperback as well. My Instagram is Made in Macabre, and the links are in my bio there if you want to.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
Definitely.
And what made you get into writing horror?
Well, I'd always been interested in just making up stories ever since I was a kid, and I was always the imaginative one, and I got into horror when I was maybe 7 years old when Goosebumps came out, and kind of slowly worked my way up to horror films like Alien, Predator. I was like 9 years old watching that, and just discovered a true passion for horror, and then I discovered I like to write horror stories too. So
Nice. And what is your favourite horror movie?
The Thing.
Great choice.
Man.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Stephen was a big fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark when we were growing up. But
Yes,
I'm Goosebumps though. I'm definitely Goosebumps.
Yeah. I used to go to my friends' houses like Wednesday nights for Are You Afraid of the Dark or something. I don't remember exactly what type, but yep, we were into that too.
Some of those episodes were, for kids watching them, and I look back, I'm like, man, some of that shit was pretty freaky. It was like after school, you'd be sitting watching it, like, it's wild.
Yeah.
I think I got a fear of dolls from the one where there's a little girl and she would turn her babysitters into Barbie dolls.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and starts off where you think the dolls are like the bad ones, but they're actually like trying to save the babysitter.
That is right.
That's kind of...
Now I have a fear of dolls, and I'm suspicious.
I'm going to try a little segue here about how the antagonist isn't who we thought it is, and that relates to the title of the film we are discussing.
Uh-huh.
This was Sam's choice. Sam, what are we discussing today?
Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs.
Yes, who, as we'll get into, aren't the real antagonists. But Sam, why did you pick this film, and what's your history with it?
It was really one that I feel like is an underrated horror film. Nightmare on Elm Street gets a ton of credit, but I really like this one. I really like movies with themes, and especially if there's some sort of like do the right thing kind of social justice behind it, and this is all about that. You kind of lights a fire under you too. So there's got the spookiness, the characters are really good, and then there's just so many different parts of it that make it so good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And there's a lot of similarities to Elm Street, I think, as well with this film. Definitely the basement kind of feels like Freddy's boiler room a little bit.
Yeah.
Both films, we might talk about this a little bit more, but both films, were based on an article that Wes Craven came across. So for those that don't know, with Elm Street, he read an article about a child who was scared to go to sleep, and then eventually they fell asleep and passed away. With this one as well, It was an article about robbers who broke into a house and found people locked in the bedrooms. So quickly got out of there and phoned the police. But those were kind of the inspirations for both those films. And how was it, Sam? This time watching it, did you still enjoy it just as much, or did you enjoy it more, or did you see any issues with the film?
I feel like I enjoyed it even more. I think, there's a lot to look at, and there's a lot of little details. So I think I picked up on a little bit more than I did the time before.
Nice, yeah.
Especially like you were saying with the basement, and I think there's one part towards the end where they find the room full of money, and then there's this room off to the side with these like glowing glass jars of like weird colors, and I was just like, what is that? Like that could be like a whole other backstory,
Yeah, that's true. And I know Wes Craven, before he passed, he wanted to do a TV show on this and kind of explore.
That would've been so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like explore more of the like mythology of these characters and obviously the different themes that the film goes through.
Bill Cosby talks about it in the film when he's telling the story to Phil about, and that would have been his generation.
Yeah.
So they've just kind of this has been going on for a long time in this family.
Stephen, what about you? What's your kind of history with this film? What's your thoughts on it?
I seen it years ago, probably, I don't know, maybe 93, 94. And I remember just quite enjoying it. And then over the years, I've kind of went back to it. I remember maybe about 10 years ago watching it with my ex. She'd never seen it before and she was like mad impressed with it. Always kind of spoken highly of it, and then watched it again last night, and yeah, still enjoyed it.
I actually only watched it for the first time about five years ago. So I was quite late to this, even though I would say I'm quite a big Wes Craven fan. I watched it for the first time during COVID, and I think maybe I wasn't in the right mindset. I did enjoy it, but I think Wes Craven, I wanted like a real scary film. And this, you kind of get like tonal whiplash. 1 minute it's really frightening, the next it's like a gateway kind of kids film at parts, but it's got these real adult themes. And then I put it on again for the podcast, and I really enjoyed it. I've got a little nitpick here and there, but I think it is a solid film, and I think it's an underrated Wes Craven film.
Yeah.
When you think about home invasion films, I mean, for me this is like the subgenre is home invasion, but usually when you think of home invasion, you think of like The Strangers or Funny Games or High Tension, the French extreme cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But those are really like violent, and I think that's what makes them scary. Is anyone could break into our house like tonight, and that could happen. Whereas like something like The Conjuring, some would say less likely, even though that is based on a true story. But it's interesting because this home invasion horror, we are rooting for the invaders, and it's kind of like Home Alone meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets is it the Last House on the Left, one of Wes Craven's
first feature film, yeah.
So it's kind of like a mix of that, but I definitely feel like it's got a bit of that Home Alone kind of feeling to it. Even, I know this is a sign more of when the film was made, but when I put it on again last night, that old Universal opening theme reminds me just of like children's films.
Yeah.
So right away I've got this kind of feel for it, and obviously the main character is a child, so because of the tone, you've got a good idea that he's going to survive this. So that takes away some of the scariness, but not. It's still a real entertaining film, and there's this kind of sense of horror mystery to it as well. So Sam, we would like to extend the pleasure of giving you the synopsis of what this film is about, and can you do it in 30 seconds?
Oh man, okay.
Okay, wait. 2 seconds. I'm going to put the stop clock on.
Great.
I hate this part of the show, by the way, when I have to do it, because I'm like...
When you're ready.
Okay. So I'd say it's about a black family and they're struggling to pay their rent because the mother got sick, and so they plan on robbing the landlords in kind of like a revenge thing and to help pay the rent. And they discover way more than they thought about how they are corrupt and buying these properties and making money off of not fixing the buildings up. Okay.
That was 38 seconds. That is not bad at all. Not bad.
There's so much to it. I'm like, oh man, I'm rambling.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You're right. There is a lot to it because I feel like this when I was watching it last night. I was like, how long is this film on for? It's on for a minute. It's on for an hour and 40, but it feels slightly longer to me. And again,
I didn't even get to the title, "The People Under the Stairs." So.
Oh
yeah.
In every neighborhood, there is one house that adults whisper about, and children cross the street to avoid. Now, Wes Craven, creator of A Nightmare on Elm Street, takes you inside.
Something's in there.
We gotta get out of here, Leroy.
All sorts of rumors about what goes on in that house. The police never took it serious.
She's been feeding that thing between the walls again.
Very, very tense about this.
What goes on in this house is a sin. But what goes on under the stairs is a nightmare. Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, there is a lot to it, and yes, it's only an hour and 40 minutes, the film. I feel like one of my nitpicks is it feels a little longer than that, but I think it's because a lot of the film is people getting chased in the walls of the stairs. Yeah. If they're not getting chased by a dog, they're getting chased by Daddy. If they're not getting chased by Daddy, it's kind of Roach who's chasing them for other reasons. But it does feel long, but it feels like there's also so much more to explore in the film that they don't get round to because of the running time is short. So it's a weird vibe there.
Yeah, let's talk about Brandon Adams as Phil and his character. It's like watching it again. I was really struck at how as soon as you meet him, you realise that he is quite mature. The scenes where he's in with Leroy and what's the other guy called? Spencer.
Yes.
You just realise you're like, you two guys are kids. This little boy is more of an adult than both of you combined. And he's so smart, and he's got great street smarts, and I think it was just a great character choice for him, and he really holds up the entirety of the film really, really, really well. Yeah, I think it's a really good performance by him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was one of my positives too.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good character development. I like how it starts off with he has the nickname Fool. But he ends up probably being the least foolish out of anyone in the movie.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives him a chance to show, who he really is and how he really isn't a fool. Mm-hmm. He's really brave and, like you said, smart. And I love a good hero, and he's really heroic. So
totally, yeah.
He's got attitude as well.
Yeah, he's got personality, right? He's got personality.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting when the tarot cards are read out at the start, and I'm sure one of them is death, one is judgment. So like, obviously he's about to see a lot of death. You could actually say that the mummy and daddy are judge him because of his skin tone and because he's breaking and entering and because of his lower class. Then obviously Fool is brought out as well. One of the cards, it might be the Fool card, I noticed as well, he's like standing on a cliff.
Yeah,
the Fool card.
Yeah.
And there's a dog behind him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they speak about the dog in a good light when they read it out, but he's on a cliff edge. Is he going to survive this journey? There's also a lot of scenes where he's like on the edge of the roof as well, and obviously the dog's always on his tail. So there's a lot of kind of foreshadowing in that one card as well. But it is a coming of age movie. Phil goes on this journey and kind of becomes a man. I guess Leroy Ving Rhames' character is saying all the time, "Oh, you need to man up," and obviously he does. But it's almost like baptism through fire. I think there's something even at the end. I know we're jumping to the end already, but when he jumps off the roof and lands in the pond and kind of pulls himself out of like the water, it's almost like he's been baptized there, and he's losing his childlike tendencies. He's like, and he's now, to use the words of the film, man enough to go back and face mummy and daddy and save Alice as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because like Leroy and that, they are, it's in terms of masculinity, they're not true masculinity. They don't, I think Leroy may sort of have a sort of love for Phil, but what he's doing, how he's shown, the kind of goating him and all that kind of stuff, that's not masculinity in its truest form. And then, Phil, I think, realises that, and throughout the film, he kind of shows what it is actually to be a man.
I think it's interesting that you think there's love with Ving Rhames, because the first time I watched it, I totally agreed, but he really throws Phil into the deep end. So, and there's parts where I'm just like, what's happening here? So a good example that I can think of is when Phil runs to the front door and gets electrocuted and falls. He just falls to the ground, and Ving Rhames' character doesn't even ask him if he's okay. He just goes straight to the window to see what's going on outside.
I was pissing myself laughing last night when that, because I totally forgot all about that, and it's just the way he runs, and it's like, and he's like off screen. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and then when Phil goes down to the basement and he first encounters the people under the stairs, and he comes back up and he finds Leroy with his head in a vent, being very still, and Phil and the audience at this point, we think Leroy's either been knocked out or dead, and Leroy comes out with that line, just because a man's lying in the ground doesn't mean he's dead. But soon after that, he turns round to Phil and he's like, stick your head down there and see what's happening, like again putting him in danger. He also gets him to stand to be the target for Prince, I think is the name of the dog.
Yeah.
Whilst Ving Rhames hides behind the sofa.
Yeah, he's a total coward, isn't he?
I think there's something about him acting like a big man, and actually he's putting this little boy in danger first.
I think that's it. It's like that kind of masculinity probably comes from a place of insecurity, and it's like that's him acting the tough guy, but then he's literally putting a child in front, like a human shield.
Yeah. And it might be, and the film doesn't go into it too much, but obviously, these are kind of lower to working class community. Ving Rhames looks like he's been a man on the streets, involved in like lots of thefts and robberies. So that's maybe this kind of, hard man persona that he's had to put up through the years as well.
Which is a survival thing as well. It's a total survival mechanism if you're living in that side of town or in that environment. It's like, sometimes you would probably need to be that way to survive.
I've had to grow up in some rough neighbourhoods myself.
Aye, right.
But just to go back to Brandon Adams' performance as well, I do think it's one of the best child performances I've seen. He delivers his lines like he's been acting for years. It's like the dialogue's really natural, and he doesn't get on your nerves. You can watch a lot of movies where the kid is the star, but they're either really whiny or they're far too clever as well. But he seems like just a normal kid that's got himself in this like terrible situation, and I would say he holds his own against Ving Rhames, and Leroy's character treats Phil like a man, and maybe behind the scenes Ving Rhames was treating Brandon like a man as well, and that's why that performance comes across so natural as well.
Yeah, totally.
Was he in Brandon Adams? Was he in Mighty Ducks?
Yeah,
he was, wasn't he? Right. Okay.
I think he's got some great lines in this as well. Like when he says, I think one of the people from under the stairs from the basement comes out, and he runs back up the stairs. He's like, I ain't stupid. And then he stops at the top, and he's like, or maybe you're just chicken shit for this kind of work, which is obviously what Ving Rhames says to him. I love how he tries to get into the house as well, and Mummy comes outside and he says, you know, we're trying to sell these cookies. And she's like, no, I'm not interested. She says, we watch what we eat, which is really interesting because they're definitely cannibals. But his return line is, I know it's a problem, but so is it, what is it? Is it cancer or palsy or
cerebral palsy?
Cerebral palsy it is.
Cerebral palsy.
And that's like such a sales technique, is like somebody says no, but then you make the situation worse for them, so as they say yes. And he's only like 10.
Yeah. Smart kid. He's a smart kid. Yeah. He's adaptable. That's what he is.
Yeah. Another great line that I remember is when he first kind of runs into Alice. She's looking at him kind of weird, and he says, what's the matter? Have you never seen a brother before? And she says, I've never had a brother. And he's like, I mean a black dude. And it's just, it comes across so natural, like from him as an actor, yeah.
The part where they encounter Prince, the dog, too, and he's trying to get him off of Leroy, and he goes, hey, your mom sleeps with cats.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was funny. That was clever.
Yeah, that scene as well where they link up to electrocute the dog. Supposedly that was tested in real life and it would work.
Yeah, because they were holding hands or whatever.
Yeah, so it would definitely pass through.
It would go through, yeah.
I guess it would be like a lower. The first one would get it more, then it would go less. In the end.
Probably.
I totally forgot that happened as well. I was laughing at that as well. I was like, because as you said it as well, like it's a total tonal whiplash, and I think that whiplash, first occurs when Daddy just comes out with a gimp suit and a shotgun, and you're like, what the hell? What's happened?
Yeah, I mean, talk about kink shaming.
I mean, that's you know.
No, I don't. I think it's interesting though, because I guess you could read into that you know that they're maybe saying it, you know, at the time maybe they're saying it, you know, this guy's kinky, but there's also like subtle hints, they're not really even subtle, but like child abuse as well. Yeah. And it could be something in regards to the gimp suit as well. I also feel like it's not always him in the gimp suit, like the actor. And I wonder if it's like the actor wasn't free for a few days and they're like, okay, how do we film these scenes? Put someone else in a costume pretending to be that actor, you know, to get over it. And let's just make it really, really bizarre. I'm not sure, but it's so random, and he gets in and out of that costume faster than Superman when the police come to the door.
He does.
Yeah.
Sam, what's your kind of next point on the film that you would like to touch on?
I was thinking like the theme. I think it's really, at least here in the States, like that's something that is actually pretty common, is taking advantage of, you know, lower income people and not really caring about their well-being, just wanting to make money.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that's in there, and that's where, like, you know, I mean, there's obviously quite a lot of themes that it touches on. Like, we're just kind of speaking there about, you know, the child abuse stuff as well. Like, so let's just talk through some of them, I guess. But the film deals with like anything from like incest to cannibalism to child abuse. Is it Anne or Annie? I can't remember. Alice, sorry. Alice gets beaten for helping the people in the wall, but because Daddy's had a bad day, he gets to like sexually abuse her. And that line, if him taking off the belt isn't enough, Mummy turns around and says, "Don't bruise her face," so you can do anything else. But then it's kind of weird because later on, Mummy gets annoyed at Daddy, saying that you can't have her or something like that towards the end when everything's falling apart. But yes, there's the class system and the racism as well. You see that when like the police look the other way because they're like white privilege, you know. But I do like how the film kind of deals with that way. Like, you know, you've got the neighbourhood kind of coming together to defeat the class system. When it's just two of them on Mummy's door, she goes to call them the N word, and then she just sees the whole community behind her, like behind Phil's sister and grandfather. And I think even, like, you know, in today's system, like Sam, you spoke about America, but even in the UK, you know, there's this kind of idea of like the uber rich and the upper class are totally against, you know, the rest of the country, and that can come down to both racism and classism. But even at that, I think, you know, the uber rich kind of want us fighting against ourselves, like over racism and stuff like that. I think it's definitely, it comes down from the top where they want us like fighting with ourselves, because then we're not looking at them. And I think this film does, you know, the film's trying to touch on a lot of subjects, but I think it does do that. I think, is it 3 days late with the rent, and it's like a 400% increase?
Yeah, something.
In
Yeah,
rent.
something crazy.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting the 400% because that's where my job rent was going, was 400%
That's
increase
right, yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But yeah, I think there's lots of other stuff as well. Like, I don't know if any of you's noticed, but it's only white people in the basement, and I think
I did notice that.
even though they're kidnapping children, it's like only white children in there. They won't let the black child in the house, but they let the is it Spencer?
Spencer, yeah.
You know, even though she's got a good idea that he's lying, she still lets him in as well. To me, it's also saying, like, you know, they won't eat black people.
Yeah, because I guess I didn't.
Yeah, she gives the hand to the dog. Too.
Yeah,
I didn't spot that. I didn't think of the connection between her not letting Phil in might be because you know he's turned up there. She could just be like, well, this is easy. This is an easy meal.
Yeah.
Because no one's around. Let's just take him in. It's not as if this isn't the first time I've done this. So yeah, but she doesn't let him in. That's interesting. I didn't think of that.
I mean, I'll shoot the idea down, even though I came up with it, because later on they put Phil in the basement with the people under the stairs when they could just kill him. But
okay,
let's kind of try and work out the history of the house, because I think it is interesting. You know, we find out that Mummy and Daddy are a couple, but they're also brother and sister. They've been kidnapping children. The idea is for them to find like the perfect child who will behave and, you know, just do as they're told. I guess kind of be a good sibling for Alice. And when they misbehave or they're not good enough, they remove a part of them, i.e. Roach's tongue, I guess. If they're fighting back, it could be a hand or whatever. But they get bits removed and then they get chucked in the cellar. Roach is one of them that has kind of escaped. Do we agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. And then, you know, we hear Alice saying she's only alive and not in the basement because she hears no evil, she doesn't speak any evil, and she doesn't see any evil. And that's what they want. They want these obedient kids who won't fight back or answer back.
It's kind of interesting too how they're the evil ones, but then they put the evil on the kids. Like, oh, if you retaliate, you're the one being evil.
Yeah, totally. And I've got it written down somewhere, but when we're talking about the kind of white privilege idea as well, she turns around to the cops and says, the bad guys are running free and we need to lock ourselves inside.
Yes.
It's something like that. I've not got that quite right, but it's something like that she says.
Yeah, something about the neighborhood. They didn't feel safe in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And then we hear later as well that Phil's grandfather says that they are the tail end of the craziest family you've ever heard of, and each generation is worse than the last. So I get the feeling that this family has probably been doing this for a long time, like all the generations.
Mm-hmm.
We find out as well that the house was originally a funeral home, and it kind of made me think of how wacky this house is with its traps and moving doors and moving shelves and secret mirrors that are doors. And I wondered, like, I've heard some people think Roach has created these kind of moving walls and things, and then others have said no, it's Mummy and Daddy, right? But there's one scene where Phil is totally trapped. Daddy comes in with a shotgun ready to shoot him, and Roach opens up the mirror and takes full insight into the walls. And then Daddy has no idea how to open the mirror, which doesn't make sense if they've set the traps, right? So I think their ancestors and like their grandfathers and grandparents or whoever created the traps.
You think so?
I think this house has been getting used for so long that the traps have been slowly made, and then Roach is running about and learning them all.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you not agree?
I don't know. Part of me's maybe thinking that it might just have been in there because it looked pretty cool, and I don't know if the films. I don't know.
It's the only reasonable explanation I can come up with. Like, I mean, as kids, we all wanted those stairs that could turn into a slide, right?
Oh man, yeah.
But
I think Roach may have created some, just small ones, just like little ones. But I think like some of the bigger ones and things. It's just like I think you just need like your sense of belief just dissipate and just be like who cares? But it's an interesting point. You could be right.
It's funny because Home Alone and The People Under the Stairs came out less than 12 months apart, and they are very similar with like the violence. But I do feel that Home Alone 2, and I've heard other people say this, Home Alone 2 is inspired by The People Under the Stairs with the traps, because it's kind of that old kind of warehousey, dark and dingy. It's not as Christmassy.
Yeah. That's interesting. I never thought of that before.
I think I'm kind of leaning towards the ancestors too, because it's it's obviously a really old house and there's so many. I think maybe each generation kind of over time just created different ones. It kind of reminds me of H.H. Holmes, that serial killer.
Yes. Yeah.
He had a house that was like booby trapped like that.
Oh, that's right. Aye.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember the name. There is a really funny scene that is more like a kid's film, but I just love everyone's reaction to it. And it's when Roach throws the kind of soft doll at the dog so as it stops, and then he pulls the trap and it slides literally like down a slide, comes out from under the sink and lands at Mummy and Daddy, and Daddy's just like, huh? So funny.
Those I thought it was kind of funny too, like the stairs that would like turn into a slide, like it was really cartoonish.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of make sense. If they're throwing bodies down those stairs, they could just put the slide on and let go. They don't need to put as much effort into
throw them down. Yeah, throw them down.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think then that these traps and things like that what were they made for? Because a lot of them are sort of separating the walls, but there was no plans to have people running around on those walls, so is it just an escape for the families? If they get found out, they would have like an escape in each room just so that it looks as if they're not in the house. Was that maybe?
I think it's actually going with the H.H. Holmes serial killer. Like, he kind of would invite people back, lock all the doors and windows, and then he would kind of, if I remember right, maybe I'm getting my serial killers mixed up, but he would kind of let them try and escape, and there was like joy in chasing them down. So like like they would like open up a door and it'd be bricked up.
Wow.
And that was kind of part of
kinky.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The two Mummy and Daddy, they're kind of over the top and like a little bizarre, and they're certainly larger than life in this, but we find out that they're brother and sister. Do you think they actually aren't like to do with their ancestors, like generational, or do you think they were kidnapped when they were younger and kept in the basement? Because then that gives reasons for them to act so weird. Like, if they've never really been properly out the house until they were adults, they wouldn't have developed as well and think this is okay to do this because this perhaps happened to them. So that kind of gives like this whole other kind of backstory.
I think that's a good point. But I also kind of think maybe if the family's just been inbred for so long, that would explain why they're so weird and and how they they have this idea of perfection, the perfect child, and I could see why it'd be like, well, we're perfect, so we don't want outside children. I don't know. Like that could be a reason why they would just inbreed, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and yeah, it is weird because I do kind of like their over the topness, like, and that kind of like cartoony violence that comes with it, and their reactions to it, like when he gets hit with the bricks, which again is very like Home Alone 2.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's kind of like, he's not in pain, he's just kind of raging that he's been hit with a brick rather than, and it's
I know,
just...
I was like, I think that would kill you.
Yeah,
it would totally.
Yeah. Well, if that wouldn't kill you, getting hit with the top of the toilet lid would.
Oh yeah, the cistern tank.
Yeah, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's kind of Looney Tunes. This film, isn't it? Yeah. Even in Home Alone 2 as well, when Marv gets hit with the bricks twice,
or
from
gets...
a 7-story building.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, but it's because this is a black comedy as well. This film, isn't it? It's as well as a horror film.
Yeah, but even Marv in Home Alone 2 getting electrocuted is like the door handle as well. So
they should have done like the skeleton thing they did in Home Alone.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
You know, the ending where the mob come, the neighbourhood, and that's a really, really nice payoff. Yeah, we like to see our heroes escape, the villains die, but the added sort of bonus is, for me anyways, is that uprising and seeing the people rise and her seeing that they are there, and the sort of fear that you get from that she gets from it. Because it's like that obedient child speaking back to you, and this is a whole town that's there to fuck you up, basically. But that kind of, I totally forgot that in the middle of the film, or maybe, I don't know, an hour or so in, it's like Phil does escape, and he goes back, and that was like, for a split second I was like, is he maybe like dreaming or something? No, he's actually escaped. Okay. And I thought that was really nice to kind of remind us of the reasons why Phil is doing what he's doing, because there's so many scenes in this where there is a lot of running about getting chased, and for me I was like maybe losing that sort of the reason why he was there. So it was a nice little reminder for me, and I think it really does help, you know, get to that eventual payoff at the end where, you know, the sort of streets kind of rise to kind of claim what's theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of adds to the theme too, like you were saying about, you know, classism and the elite and stuff. Like the part where, you know, there's a whole ton of people and the mommy comes out with a gun and, you know, his sister goes, "What, are you going to shoot all of us?"
Yeah.
Kind of a statement on, you know, there's more of us than there are of them.
It's a great line, that, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. And also, they don't actually commit any violence when they arrive. Like, because you said, like, kind of that mob mentality, but they actually don't do anything. They stand there, and that's kind of enough, you know, because they are a community. They are, like, strong together. And she is actually the violent one. And it's funny because she thinks that, you know, the rest of the neighbourhood is, like, full of violence and they're the dirty ones and things like that, when she's standing there after crawling out of her chimney, so she's like covered in dirt, she's like the filth, and she's the gun wielding kind of lunatic. She is everything that she believes the lower class black community are, which is kind of interesting there as well. And just kind of talking about that ending where everyone shows up, this film also came out around about the same time as Candyman.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, and you know, I think both are saying a lot about class, obviously in different ways. What's the main...
Cabrini Green?
No, the main woman in Candyman.
Oh, Linda?
Helen.
Oh, Helen.
Helen.
What did I say, Linda?
Yeah, Helen.
I'm so good at names too.
Yeah,
like,
I actually just...
I got nothing, I can't even do it.
I just started thinking about Candyman going, Helen.
Yeah.
But even though she's kind of like, you know, the white hero in the film, at parts she is scared of the community, she's scared to step into that. So again, it's saying a lot about how the white people fought about the neighbourhoods, I guess. But I still think both do this really cool thing about having the community rise up at the end. Obviously, they rise up to stop the crazy white women in this film.
Yeah, they do.
And it's a sign of respect at the end of Candyman, but it is still like, we are not who you thought we were, and we're here as a community at the end there as well. Yeah.
That was really satisfying too, like when all the money just starts falling from the sky after he blows it up, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was really, really telling too when you see how the money's just in piles in the basement. It's not even organized. It's just, you know, like just emphasizing the fact that they really don't need it. It's just they're just hoarding it. It just sits down there.
Totally. Actually, yeah, I never actually thought about that as well. That's a really good point.
Yeah, it's
that
just entitlement, isn't it?
It's entitlement, and it's almost like just not wanting to. They think they deserve it, and they think that the other half don't, I guess, as well. But it's not like out of necessity in any way. It's there beside dynamite, and almost like it doesn't matter if they lose it.
Rejected people under the stairs. Like, it's not even up in the house with their nice furniture or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you notice that some of the people under the stairs, you kind of see them creeping out at the end as everyone's kind of catching the money? So like they are now in society, and it'll be interesting.
Oh, right, do you?
I just think that's interesting because you wonder, again, Wes Craven wanted to do a TV show, but part of that TV show could be, how do these people fit back into society?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it would be interesting to see where they came
that'd
from.
Be tough.
That would be, yeah. And going back to the money in the room, what's the line that Phil says, like, when he sees the money? He's like, no wonder there ain't no money in the ghetto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about as well, like, just some of the, you were talking about like how the money's not up with their nice furniture. I don't even know if we could call it nice, but what do you think about like kind of like the set design and what kind of story that's telling? Because at the start, when we see Phil's kind of apartment block, and it's like full of graffiti, and there's like dogs kind of think chewing on a dead animal. There's also they're the only apartment left in the block, but there's so many squatters, like it still shows that the apartment block is needed. So all these other people have been kicked out, but they're still held up in like the hallways of the apartment. Just things like that. And then, you know, I guess we could talk a little bit about the set design of the house as well. I think all the furniture just kind of looks like nothing matches. It's probably been either collected over the years or bought because it was dear. And I just think there's a lot to say.
I'd say maybe on that it's maybe just like the sort of keeping things the way that they've always been, and to them they have always been the elite, and it's just, this is how it's been for, you know, a couple hundred years or whatever, and it's slow over time, things have just mounted up, and I guess there's that sort of is it what's the word I'm looking for?
Aristocrat?
Something like that. It's more like, yeah, they can own history, they can purchase antiques, they don't have to worry about it, and it's all sort of in display for them, really, because no one's allowed in the house unless you're going down in the basement.
Yeah, anyone that goes in doesn't come back out.
Doesn't come back out.
Yeah. Well, then when the police is like searching the place, he makes the comment about the furniture too, like, oh yeah, this is all very nice or something. She says something about it in the family for years or something.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Even that scene where the police go into Alice's bedroom, right, and they call Mummy into it, and she's like, yeah, we lost Alice a long time ago. We've just kept this room the same. And the police just accept that.
They just bought it.
Yeah.
I think what Craven's alluding to there is like, that's how easy it is for people to get away with shit.
Yeah. And there's like, I mean, I didn't notice it when the police are there, but we've just watched Daddy blow holes in the house for like the first hour. The police don't seem to mention the shotgun blasts into the walls or anything.
Yeah.
Or the van. Like, it's really weird. Like, the police show up and they're like, oh, this van was spotted in a robbery to the liquor store, which we should probably say that's how Leroy found out about the gold in the house, is because the family owned the house, owned a liquor store that Leroy had tried to rob with Spencer. So that's kind of how it all ties together. But they've left the van in the driveway. The police spot the van, and that's what makes them want to check the house. But when the police leave, they just leave the van there.
Yeah.
It's so random. Like, they don't even go.
Yeah, and they don't investigate as like where did the people who drove it go.
Yeah.
You know, but it was involved in a robbery, so they've got to be bad people, so we don't care.
Yeah, or even checking out their story about having a child and things like that. You know, it's like the story that the mum tells, oh, we lost her, you know, that. They didn't look into it. There was nothing to say, oh, we're going to check this out. They just flat out believe these guys.
Yeah.
It's another good scene, actually, where when Phil does get out and he phones social services for Alice. I mean, again, that's quite intelligent for his character. Like, because if you just turned round and went, oh, there's been a robbery, or you should look into these people, they've got people under the stairs, would they be believed? So it's quite...
Yes.
Yeah.
Going about it a lot smarter.
He knows. He's smart.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about, like, just, I guess, where horror was at the time? So this came out in 90... What was it? 91. And I guess the world at that point was feeling quite safe. You know, the Vietnam War's over, and I guess America's feeling quite safe as well. And so movies at the time, the horror starts to be found at home, in these kind of neighbourhoods where the white picket fencing is, you know. Basically, horror is that we don't actually know our neighbours. And horror movies like Scream played on this as well, Funny Games, different things like that. And I think that, along with, you know, Wes Craven's article about the robbers finding the rooms with the children in it, I think the film's saying a lot there, as well as the class and that as well. That, you know, it was after going to, like, after 9/11, say, horror moved from being our neighbours, and it was like things like Hostel were coming out, where it's like, you know, foreign horror is now scary again. But I think this is an interesting time where, like, you know, you had the slashers in the early 80s with, like, Halloween, where it was like, you know, what did you say Halloween was originally called? The Babysitter
Murders.
So again, that's kind of, you know, When a Stranger Calls, things like The House Wasn't Safe, early 80s, and then I think
70s, 80s,
yeah, we went back to that in the 90s because, you know, the world did seem like a safe space, so it was more about, you know, your families, and even like thrillers as well, like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle and things like that were kind of doing the same. You don't know who you're letting into your house or your neighbour next door. I think it's just an interesting time there.
Yeah, I guess you had, like, we spoke about this in we did the Predator 2 episode, and was it Detroit riots in 92? Was that right, Sam? Was it Detroit? I think this is
LA? Was it LA? It was LA.
LA riots. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is set in Detroit. I think there was Detroit riots as well.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I can't remember what year, but and I think when about this time as well, I think the Iraq War was kind of starting. The Gulf War, maybe in the early 90s as well, under George Bush Senior. It's weird because I guess 90s does get a bit of a bad rap for horror. There's a lot of good films in the 90s.
I think the bad rap comes from the violence being less. You know, 80s, like slashers, the violence is really up there with shown a lot. But
people became a bit more desensitized to it.
Even like, I mean, in Scream, if you take like, no matter your thoughts on it, but if you take the original Scream, and something like Drew Barrymore's death at the start, it seems really violent, but it's actually the aftermath of her hanging from the tree is what you see. Yeah. But then if you take Scream 7, I don't want to spoil it, but it's certainly a lot gorier as in what we see.
Yeah.
And I think things like, you know, Halloween H2O as well, like a lot of it's off screen or it's a quick stab here or there. It's not, the brutality's not there as much. And I guess this film we spoke about, you know, there's scary themes that the story's tackling, but it's also Home Alone cartoony violence that it's doing it with. So even in this,
well, I thought it was interesting too because I noticed it was rated R for terror and violence.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't find it particularly terrifying or violent.
No, you're absolutely right.
I kind of was wondering about that.
Yeah, you don't see a lot up until the daddy's feeding the cannibals under the stairs. He's feeding them. Is it
Leroy's
And
body.
It's quite graphic.
Yeah.
And there, that's probably the first
That was
bit.
pretty graphic, but I don't, compared to
Yeah.
other like R-rated movies for violence, I think it was.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I was
Pretty
kinda
tame,
surprised.
yeah. I guess as well maybe the child abuse stuff, because I thought the scene with Alice when she gets put into the bath,
Yeah.
it's quite
That's true.
impactful, isn't it? So maybe it was that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, the
Or
idea.
even just the cannibalism, even just the mention of it, I know
Yeah.
that might have just been a little too much for the time.
Maybe, yeah.
And I guess having our lead character a child, there's only so much that, one, you can put the actor through, but two, that an audience would be willing at this time to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Sam, have you any other points, or do you want to go into like any other notes or anything on it?
I think that was pretty much
Yeah.
everything
Cool.
that I had. Yeah.
No worries. I've got a few more kind of notes that feel free for any of you to jump in on, but I liked how the first kind of sign of cannibalism was Daddy eating the rib cage, and it could just be, it could be a roast beef or something, but then you see him pick out the buckshot and put it in the ashtray, so it's like, yes, it could still be hunting in a forest, it could still be hunting animals, I guess, but, it's the first part where it's alluding that something's not quite right here. And
I think also, I forget, I think it's like the scene where kind of right after they break in and then they go into this other part of the house and there's just a meat grinder sitting on the counter, and just the way it was sitting there like by itself and there wasn't other kitchen utensils around, I just thought that was kind of creepy.
Yeah, and it's subtle as well. Like, I think you see it again when Leroy is looking out the window. You just kind of see it in the background, and it's like, it's not as if like the cinematographer's like, we need to get this in a close up so people know how they're getting rid of the bodies and grinding it. It's just, if you catch it, great. If you don't, it doesn't really matter too much. What do we think of Ving Rhames getting killed off halfway through? Did we think he was going to be there to the end, or a lot longer than what he was?
Yeah, I think it kind of played on the idea that, kids are less smart, than adults, and I think you kind of underestimate kids, and I think you kind of did expect him, like, the almost like an older brother figure in a weird way.
Mm.
So you kind of picture, someone needs to be caring after the child. So I kind of thought, there would be someone there with him.
Yeah.
But then he's not. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and I would also say Alice looks older than Phil. I think it's interesting that he loses his kind of parental figure in this house and then almost looks after another child who could be older, and certainly Roach looks older as well.
Yeah.
And so did the rest of the people under the stairs, which just also questions how long have they been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I think their skin was so pale and white, and I think it was like suggesting they hadn't seen sunlight.
Yeah.
Really long time.
And there's also that.
Monsters.
Yeah, and I think there's interesting elements to that. Like, did they really peel them up as well to give that contrast again between, the black neighborhood and literally these like white children that have been kidnapped and who have went even paler because they've not got that sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We should talk about Sean Whalen, who played Roach. This was his first performance, and he is not allowed to speak. And I think it's actually a really good performance. For Phil, he is quite scary at the start. They start to become friendly, I guess. And, you can tell when Roach is having a good time, especially when he... I know that sounds silly in this film, but, when he uses the slingshot and hits Daddy in the head.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
But he's laughing and stuff. You really still get that emotion, even though he's not allowed to speak.
He brings a lot of personality without using words.
Yeah, exactly. He was also in Halloween 2 that we just covered. Just a small part.
Yeah, Idle Hands. But I always remember that actor from, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, it's not a horror film, there's a Pauly Shore film called Trial by Jury. I think it might have been called Jury Duty in the States.
Okay.
And I watched that probably every day for an entire summer, and he was the sort of killer in it. And I thought he was great.
Yeah, he's always in a lot of like horror films and things as well.
He's got quite a cult kind of following. Yeah, he's great. Do you think as well that's taking Leroy out sort of brings in the room for Roach and Phil's character and Alice as well as the sort of the three of them?
Yeah.
Well, I really liked it too, and kind of just like I said before, I mean, he really made a character shine without speaking. So I think that says a lot about his acting abilities and just the things you can do as an actor.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be noticed that I do know this, even though I have not seen it, that Everett, McGill and Wendy Robie were playing a husband and wife in Twin Peaks. And I'm sure it was Twin Peaks. It was definitely David Lynch anyway. And that's where Wes Craven's seen them. But they play a relatively normal couple.
Okay.
Relatively normal compared to this. So, and Wendy Robie says that this was one of her favourite performances to do of all time was Mummy and The People Under the Stairs. Yeah.
I think she's great in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Another Home Alone, Elm Street, People Under the Stairs connection is at the end of Elm Street as well. We see Nancy kind of creating like a lot of booby traps, Home Alone style, to capture Freddy Krueger as well. So that's another kind of reference that I felt was worth mentioning.
It was a Wes Craven film.
And there's a bathtub scene with her too.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's quite a upsetting scene when the mum does grab Alice just before the bath scene and like forces her into Leroy's blood and forces her to clean up the blood. It was quite a
and then gets mad at her for getting blood on her dress.
Yeah.
And it was her fault. Yeah.
And it's interesting that I only noticed this kind of tie-in this time around, that Mummy is like, brushing her hair, making the dresses for her, want her to be polite, well-mannered. She's almost treating her like a doll. And then you've got Alice who's creating her own dolls.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, that's like kind of like, trauma like feeding through as well, which is quite cool.
Because this is her normality. She has no idea what it's like on the outside. She does say that to Phil, like when he says about the brother thing, and he's like, she says something about outside, and she's like, I don't go outside. Like no one gets outside.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm getting out. He's saying, I'll get outside.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He's like, I'm going to be the first one to do this.
Sam, what would you rate The People Under the Stairs out of 5?
I probably would just give it a 5 out of 5.
Nice. Yeah. So you watch this quite often then?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good. I like watching it for Halloween. It's a good like Halloween movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
And really, like the negative things I have are just really tiny little nitpick things. I really don't have any like glaring issues with it. So, yeah.
Stig, what about you?
Would you give it? Hold on, I need to actually say, give it what out of what?
Oh yeah, like so we usually rate it out of certain like a random prop or object you would find in it. So
I'm just trying to think of one.
I would give mine 3.5 out of 5 staircases.
All right, nice so far. Trying to think what I'd give mine. I'm going to give.
What was that?
Hands, maybe.
Hands, yeah.
4 out of 5 fools. That was shit.
That'll do. 4 out of 5 gold. 4 out of 5 gold coins would have been great, actually. And why would you give it 4 out of 5?
Yeah, I think it's all the fun. Again, I hadn't seen it in a while, but rewatching it again, I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And I think Craven has like took a lot of what he's learnt from his previous films and put it into this. And I think it is one of those films where the comedy aspect works really well with balancing the horror. And I'm usually someone who doesn't want that. I don't need comedy in my horror. But I think this works to sort of cut through the sort of, because there's so many issues with race, classism, and obviously child abuse and that. And then I think this is like, maybe you need something just to undercut that to give it a little bit of relief. Otherwise, it could be a very, very, very depressing film.
Yeah, I'd give it 3.5 out of 5 staircases because I think it does drag a little bit. Once Roach is killed, there's still like a good 40 minutes to go. And that feels like a really big kind of final moment. And I think it deals with a lot of themes, but I think it's trying to deal with so many themes that it doesn't really go into them deep enough, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But what Sam said was great. The fact that it's a good Halloween film, it's fun. You know, you could definitely have like a group of people over on Halloween, few beers, put this on, and everybody would enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. Because some of the one-liners are great as well. They're just mad. Even some of the one-liners from the man, like just how funny he is. And you're like, or that daddy, I should say. Cause you kind of don't expect that, but when you first see the introduced to the characters, then you find out he's actually really, really funny.
Yeah, there's some bits where he like Phil just keeps getting away from him, and he's just getting so annoyed. Like,
yeah.
Oh, one thing before we wrap this up, then. The poor dog gets killed.
Yeah.
And there's a few scenes in this where like I feel sorry for the dog. One of them I feel sorry for the dog as a performer. And it's when it's like coming through what I can only kind of consider a human cat flap. And Phil's kind of keeping his feet against it. And I was like, that dog looks like it's suffering. I really hope it wasn't. And then, yeah, once Daddy accidentally stabs the dog and Craven goes to a full close-up of the dog looking really sad. And I'm just like, oh, you've got my heart.
Yeah.
You've got me emotionally there.
Yeah, I hope there was no dogs on the night of this one.
But also, like, you're talking about funny lines. Once they think, you know, Phil is out of the house and they're getting ready to go to sleep for the night, they're kind of like just turning everything off, walking up the stairs, and just a throwaway line. Daddy turns around and goes, We're going to have to get another dog. And then Mummy's like, yeah, a big one.
Big one.
As if this is like a regular occurrence. like you know, like I need to get some milk in the morning. I need to go and get a new dog.
As if that dog wasn't big to begin with.
Yeah, crazy. But great film. And just remember as well, if a man's lying down, it doesn't mean he's dead.
Yeah.
Try to remember that.
I'm going to give my creative horror recommendation for this episode, and that is the feature film Don't Breathe. If you've not seen it, it is another home invasion film where you let's just say you're kind of rooting for at least one of the characters who's invaded the house to get out alive. It kind of turns home invasion on its head, much like The People Under the Stairs. That's all I'll say on that, but there is also a sequel. So I've not seen the sequel though, but the first one's pretty good.
I did. I liked it.
Oh, grand, yeah. The first one's really tense as well, really tense, and great sound design as well, but I don't want to say too much on that.
Yeah, I remember the sound. Yeah, I remember that being quite, sound design being quite good in that film.
Yeah.
My recommendation is I started replaying Evil Within 2. PlayStation, yeah. I played it probably a few years ago, and I always remember it being a lot of fun, quite scary as well. Started playing that. It's because I don't have a PS5 at the moment, and I'm aching to get Resident Evil 9.
Yep, sitting downstairs waiting for me to play.
Yeah, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Son of a bitch. Okay, so I'm trying to like get my horror fix video game, and I just started replaying that. So
good game though.
But I will be getting a PlayStation 5 soon.
Yeah, nice. Sam, do you have a creative horror recommendation for us?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know if I would exactly call it horror, but I don't know if you've seen the movie Willard with Crispin Glover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, kind of like The People Under the Stairs, there's this big old house, and that's probably the only thing in common. big old house, but just a really creative idea of, you know, kind of an outcast and how he befriends these outcasted animals and all the weird things that take place after that.
Nice.
Just really, really bizarre. And like not exactly horror, but not horror either, you know.
Don't worry about that. Steg's recommendation a few months ago was The Housemaid.
I enjoyed it. when did Willard come out? Can you remember?
It's 90s as well, I think.
Is it as far back as that?
It was like late 90s, maybe.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2003.
2003. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The old. What's your guys' favourite Wes Craven film? I should think about asking. Have you got a favourite?
I mean, to say Elm Street's the go-to, so I would probably actually go with, just because it's a bit different, and I think it was pre-Scream, but a lot of the same ideas with it being meta, was Wes Craven's A New Nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like that too. Surprisingly, I didn't really have the highest expectations, but I liked it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, like just kind of that whole mix of, you know, horror movies becoming a kind of a reality, and I guess Scream kind of touches on that as well, where you're taking all the horror kind of tropes and rules and implementing it in, I guess, a real life scenario. So yeah.
I've been actually thinking about going back to
the Serpent and the Rainbow. You guys seen that?
Bill Pullman. Yeah, that's a good one as well.
Oh, I get mixed up. I'm thinking of another film. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Such a long time since I've seen it, but that was a good film.
It's like kind of about voodoo and...
Yeah. I'm getting mixed up with a Welsh film with Hugh Grant, with like a demon dragon thing, kind of folk horror. I can't remember what it is. It doesn't matter.
That's a hell of a synopsis, that.
I know, that's why... Yeah. Also, Sam, Willard is sitting on my IMDb right now, and the poster certainly looks horror, and the trailer is currently playing on mute, and it's got a lot of horror elements to the trailer as well. A lot of rats I can see, for starters.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Steg, what's your favourite Wes Craven film?
Again, it's like, I think the go-to is obviously Nightmare on Elm Street, but I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been a long time since I've watched Last House on the Left. Something keeps telling me to go back and watch that again, because it's been a long time since I saw it.
Did you see the remake?
I did see the remake, yeah. I remember
the remake was
pretty
okay.
Good. Yeah, it been good. Yeah, I don't have one currently.
You're the one
You've not asked the question.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. I'm bad at picking favorites.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Well, this kind of brings us to the end of the episode. Sam, thank you very much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Thanks for coming on. I know you kind of mentioned it at the start, but do you want to let our listeners know again where they can kind of follow what you're doing and what you're up to?
Yeah, well, I do have a website, so samtonnell.com. Otherwise, on my Instagram, Maiden Macabre. It's just where I do all my horror nerdiness, basically.
Yeah, great. And what about writing? Do you think you're going to try your hand at another book?
Yeah. I mean, I have another story I'm working on right now, and really what I've been most interested in doing is adapting maybe for film, maybe doing a screenplay, maybe even doing like a short film of my own.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. I probably should have said at the start, actually, like, Stephen's an actor and I do like filmmaking as well, so...
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Makes it easy.
And what was the name of your book again?
Oh, I don't think I said it. It's called Mandatory Lobotomy.
Nice. Yeah. We can put a link to that in the show notes as well.
That'd be good, yeah.
Well, I'm still Gary.
I'm still Steg.
And you've been listening to The Horror Cut. You can follow the podcast at The Horror Cut Show on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You can also join the Facebook group where you can leave your thoughts and comments on the films that we are discussing. And if you're enjoying what you're hearing, can you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? And join us next time when we will be discussing the original Scary Movie. Thanks. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.